welcome back to Classic Comics. This is my review of Deadpool and Wolverine. I'll go spoiler free first and then get into spoilers later in the video. So, obviously, this is a movie that a lot of folks have been anticipating, mainly because of Jackman's return as Wolverine. So, was it worth the wait? Overall, yes, but I don't think this movie is as good as, say, Spider-Man No Way Home was. I won't get into specifics about the plot, but the movie is entertaining. Reynolds and Jackman are both good, of course. They've been playing these roles for a while. It delivers the goods for the most part, or at least it tries to. I don't think Reynolds is as funny as he thinks he is, and I've never been a big Deadpool fan anyway, so I wasn't falling out of my chair laughing or anything. There were maybe half a dozen or so jokes that I thought were really funny. One problem with this movie is that the villains are, in my opinion, really underwhelming. So you've got two main villains here. You've got the Cassandra Nova character, who is basically an evil female version of Xavier, who's never appeared in any of these movies before, so it's just kind of like, who cares? I mean, what is she after? What does she want? It's never really clear. And honestly, she just does stuff because the plot needs her to. And then the other main villain is this guy called Paradox, who is with the TVA. Now, part of the problem that Marvel has had after Endgame, in my opinion, is that the villains have been really lacking. And part of that is because Marvel has really just, I don't know, they've just drained a lot of the grandeur and excitement out of their characters. One of the best examples of this was in the Loki series, where we heard all these rumors about how that was going to build up to Kang the Conqueror. And then when Loki finally meets Kang, first of all, it isn't really Kang. It's like some alternate version of him called He Who Remains or whatever it was. But he meets this guy, and it's just some guy sitting in an office at a desk somewhere. And it's like he's this middle manager in some company. There's no real grandeur, no real charisma from him. He's just some guy. And Paradox has the same problem. He's just this bureaucrat. And he wants to destroy Deadpool's universe because he wants to show his bosses that it can be done more efficiently. There's no personal stakes for him or anything like that. So it's really hard to care about what these villains are doing. The action, for the most part, is pretty well done, and there is plenty of blood and gore, although it's all CGI, which to me always looks fake, so it didn't really impress me. There's a lot of hype around this movie, but it will help you to lower your expectations a little bit. Personally, I found the movie a bit disappointing. Not bad, but not as good as I hoped it would be. It's not a movie I would say you've just got to rush to the theater and see, but it gets the job done. If you like the first two Deadpool movies, you'll probably like this too. Bottom line, this movie is a string of in-jokes, Easter eggs, cameos, and member berries that are strung together with a flimsy plot that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it an 8, I guess, maybe 7.5, something like that. Okay, now let's get into spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, you should dip out now and come back later after you've seen the movie. I'll start by saying that considering all the hype around this movie and all the rumors about cameos, the cameos that we did get are a little disappointing. The big glaring thing to me is that there are no cameos from the Fox X-Men cast at all. No Patrick Stewart, no Magneto, no Jean Grey, no Cyclops, no Beast, nothing. Also, aside from Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan, no one from the MCU appears in this either, except for one brief little appearance by the Hulk, which lasts maybe 5 seconds. It's actually kind of cool. So there's a sequence where Wolverine gets this device from the TVA and he uses it to go hopping through all these different realities. It's kind of a montage, and there's a lot of Easter eggs and stuff here from the comics, so if you haven't read the comics, you probably won't get a lot of them. At one point, he goes into a timeline where he meets the Wolverine from the Age of Apocalypse timeline, you know, the Wolverine who's got just one hand. Another timeline, he meets a Wolverine that's wearing the black and tan uniform, which I prefer, really. I wish he had worn that one in this movie. And I think that's the one where he meets the Hulk, where, you know, that cover where Wolverine has got his claws out and you can see the Hulk reflected in his claws. That's when the Hulk appears. Wolverine pops his claws and you see the Hulk, and then Deadpool turns around and the Hulk is there. And it's like, that's it. You know, it's only a few seconds. It's also during this sequence that he hops into one timeline and he meets Wolverine, and Wolverine is played by Henry Cavill. And again, it's like 10 seconds, maybe 15, something like that. And Cavill has one line, and that's it. Now, there's a sequence during the end credits that shows some bloopers and behind the scenes clips and bits of interviews from the Fox superhero movies from back in the 2000s, from X-Men, Fantastic Four, Elektra, etc. And there's also an end credits scene, but it's not important. It's really just a gag, so you can skip it if you want. Again, there were a lot of expectations for this movie. Among them, there were rumors that this movie was going to have some big impact on the MCU, maybe reset the MCU somehow, or set up the MCU X-Men, or maybe even introduce them. It doesn't at all. There's none of that. Oh, and also, there's that fight between Wolverine and Sabretooth that was set up in the trailers. That's a total joke. They just run at each other and Wolverine beheads Sabretooth, and that is it. It lasts maybe 3 seconds. Now, as far as the cameos that we do get, several villains from the old Fox X-Men movies show up. Pyro is in it. The Toad is in it. Juggernaut shows up, although it's not the same actor, it's a different guy. There's also a couple of others. I think, like in one scene, you see a woman who's got those kind of fingernail claws like Lady Deathstrike did in X2, but it's not the same actress, so I assume it's that character. Beyond that, the cameos that we do get that are significant, Chris Evans appears in it, and they kind of set it up where you think he's Captain America, but it turns out that it's Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four. And also, the big cameos aside from him, we get Elektra, played by Jennifer Garner, Blade, played by Wesley Snipes, and we also get Gambit, played by Channing Tatum, and X-23, played by Daphne Keane. And they're fine, and it's cool seeing them and all, but again, it's a little surprising to me that there's no one from the Fox X-Men movies in this. Anyway, it's an okay movie, not a great one in my opinion. Let me know what you thought of Deadpool and Wolverine. Were you disappointed by the lack of cameos like I was? Were you expecting more? Let me know in the comments. Also, please do like this video and sub to the channel, and check out some of my other videos while you're here. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.